Okay, first, okay, there are various options that can come into play, but globally, possibly the first one would be the law, legislation. The law coming in terms of what are the maximum charges, possibly, that medical service providers can charge or medical healthcare providers can charge. The cost of drugs, the cost of consultations, the cost of, prescribed cost of operational costs, where we don't have such a big spectrum between one surgery and the other one. Now, if you go to surgery for 5 different doctors, one will charge you 10,000, the other one will charge you 500,000. That kind of disparity in costing, even of specialists, even of doctors, I think the law needs to come in and really be able to moderate how much should you be charged for certain procedures and so forth. The cost of medicine is another one, which is also a big cost. What margins should be allowed by healthcare providers? If a healthcare provider buys a Panadol at 10 shillings, should they sell it at 1,000 shillings to a consumer? There should be some regulation that brings some logic into the costs of the various inputs that are there in healthcare. And all we are saying is this, is that it is appreciated that various people are also in business, but we are discussing the issue of margins and the common good of the country. We can have also very high margins, coming through from healthcare providers. So I think I want to start by saying the first one, of course, is the issue of the law. Law needs to come in, very important. But also behavior is another area that needs to come in. The behavior of healthcare providers needs to be aligned to the customer, needs to be aligned to the insurance company, needs to be aligned to providing affordable medical services to a wider population of Kenyans. Because if more people are being financed to access healthcare, then many people will be able to go to Nairobi Hospital. Many people will be able to go to Aga Khan. Right now, how many people can afford to go there? How many people can afford to go to Meridian or to these other providers that are there? So I think the alignment of objectives between healthcare providers and insurance companies, where we are all coming back together to say, if we can finance 10 million Kenyans from the private sector to afford medical health, it will work out to the benefit of all the players. And if people embrace that, then it is a win-win solution for everybody. Now we have just a small population, and we keep on beating those people to bring in more premiums, to bring in more of their money to provide health care. And that will not work in the end, because several of them will start saying, I also don't want, it's too much for me. Every time my insurance company talks to me, it's 10% increase, it's 15% increase. I have not used my product. Some customers have actually not used their products for 5 years, 10 years, and yet there's still communication about increase, medical inflation. It will not work for all the players. So I think there needs to be alignment of, the law needs to come in, of course, to bring order to the environment from all the players, but also there needs to be alignment of objective by all the players. Yeah, that if we work together, everybody benefits. The basic drugs that can treat cancer, the basic drugs that can treat a pre-existing condition should be regulated, because we are discussing margins here. We are not discussing people should not make profit, that people should sell below cost. That's not what we are saying. We are saying the margins should be reasonable to allow everybody decent access to health care. That is all we are saying. And if that happens, then because of the numbers, the formula will remain the same. People will still be able to make profits, but from a bigger cross-section of customers. It is impacting to a large extent on the cost of healthcare, because it contributes to the overall cost, and obviously if it contributes to the overall cost, then fraud is always priced by insurance companies. The pricing of insurance companies will have to include fraud, because it is part of the expense that is there. So it does affect the pricing, and it does affect the performance of insurance companies. And there is a big move now, including by AR Insurance Kenya, to really put in measures that can reduce fraud. Certain initiatives have come on board across the board, and of course one of them is what you call the biometric technology, which helps in identification, which also helps in the swift upload of data from providers, which helps in a preliminary vetting of claims, even at the point of service where a member is being served. So biometric technology has come in and is providing a very good solution against fraud. The other aspect that is coming in very powerfully for most insurance companies, including AAR, is the upgrade of technology. The systems that are running the business, the systems that are processing claims. If upgrading of those systems means that there is more speed with respect to processing of claims, there's more analytics with respect to processing of those claims. There is a faster decision making because information now is available on a faster basis because of the use of technology. So the upgrade of technology by many insurance companies, including AAR Insurance Kenya, is actually an anti-fraud solution because somehow you're able to make some trends, you're able to make some analytics that can almost guide you towards where fraud is likely to be happening. So the issue of fraud, of course, very important, technology very important in fraud. Customer education is a very powerful tool which everybody has embraced, including AAR Insurance Kenya. Customer engagement and information is important because customers, patients, people go to hospital, need to ask questions. You know, the era of where you go to the doctor, they write in that scrolling, doctors, normally you can't read the doctor's writing. They write in a scrolling thing and then you go to the pharmacy, you take the drug and you go. That era is finished. People must demand information at the point of prescription from the doctor. Why? What is being prescribed? How will it work? For how long do I need to use it? Does it have any side effects? Are there alternatives? Is there an alternative to surgery? In the past, the prescriptions and recommendations of doctors were very powerful. People would move into surgery just by the mere stroke of a pen by a doctor. But in the current environment now, there are very many alternatives. People need to ask, must I go for surgery? What is, the best way to manage this condition? Which is the least cost-effective, the most cost-effective way to manage my long-term illness? So customer education actually is a very big tool, very powerful for all customers. How do I benefit from NHIF and all that? So various measures are in place to help deal with this issue. A general insurance company means that we are licensed to do all, in insurance language, it's called short-term insurance business. Sometimes when people say general, people assume it is everything. It's not everything. It's a short-term, what you call short-term insurance. And for our company, AR, we've chosen specifically to concentrate on what you call the insurances that affect individuals directly, not insurances that affect property, not insurances that affect what you can call liabilities, but insurances that affect the person, the individual. And therefore, those insurances have to do with injuries, they have to do with medical expenses, they have to do with traveling, because with all insurances that affect the person, those insurances are portable. So if you go to Europe and you have a medical insurance, if you go to Europe and you have a personal accident insurance, you carry that insurance with you there. So travel is also one of the insurances we are dealing with. So we are dealing with the retail or individual-based insurance products. Of course, there are various reasons. I want to speak specifically about medical insurance because that's the biggest chunk of our product. And the medical insurance, with respect to claims, we don't deal with customers directly most of the times. I say 98% of the time we don't deal with customers. We deal with hospitals because you're supposed to go to hospital and the hospital is supposed to send the bill to us. So the things that are not payable in medical insurance are known well in advance before you go to hospital. From your product, you can tell what is excluded from a medical perspective. And therefore, I think that issue does not affect medical insurance companies very much. But other lines of classes, of course, could be affected by that. And there may be many, many reasons why these claims may not be payable. Yeah. Okay, the impact is positive because it's an initiative by the government to strengthen the industry, to strengthen insurance companies. So the intentions and the objective of this new law are actually to be commended, very positive, make strong institutions and all that. Now, the law is rigorous. The law is demanding on business. But the good thing is that it has a staggered approach, or a staggered, it's phased out. It's not you have to comply by immediate effect. So this compliance to this new law is up to 2020 now. Previously, it was up to 2018. In the recent law legislation, it has been extended to 2020. So the beauty of it is that it is a staggered approach to implementation. And the good part of it is that the theme of this law is to ensure that companies reduce the risks of operating the business. And if you reduce the risks of operating business, then it means that the business becomes stronger. It even actually may require that you don't even need so much capital for a business. So in the long term, it is even in the interest of insurance companies to adhere to the law, in the sense that the demand even for capital for the business will be moderated on the strength of business that you are actually managing. So other than saying that the capital, we have one capital for all insurance companies, irrespective of how well managed or how well governed a business is, then it is better to say that different models of insurance companies' business should require different capital bases. So I think it's a commendable law and a very good impact for insurance companies, for customers, and in the long term for the future of the industry. I think it's fantastic. Rigorous, demanding, yes, but I think every good thing is not easy. Yeah. In 5 years, a very big, dominant insurance company, 50% market share of medical insurance business, a standard setter in terms of how medical business and personal insurances can be done in the country, and a good contributor to the industry in terms of making the industry better, making insurance more affordable, more accessible to all consumers and many consumers in the country. Yeah, just making people adapt insurance as a normal, basic good or product like Uber.